Hey there, one of the biggest, things about working with sellers is that there is a specific problem that many sellers give, and that has to do with, overpriced listing. And many agents face the challenge of how to correct an overpriced listing in a tactful manner. In other words, how to make price adjustment to the listing without pissing off the seller. Hi, my name is Yasir Khan and I'm the author of Property Agent Secrets book, which is the most powerful book in the entire real estate industry, guaranteed. For a limited time, you can get the book for free. Just pay for shipping over at propertyagentsecrets.com. So, how do you make price adjustments without pissing off sellers? So, a lot of sellers, right, when they first start to list their house, they definitely have a very clear idea of what they want in the price, but what they may not know is what is the actual market value of the house. And the market value of the house has no bearing on the opinion of the seller or the opinion of the agent. So many agents have to do a price reduction tactfully, or risk letting the property rot on the market for too long, and the buyers have this perception there's something wrong with the house because it's not selling for over 3 or 4 months. So the question of making price reduction is a very sensitive one, and sellers can obviously get very angry or very defensive. So as an agent, how do you do it in a way which gets you what you want, which is get the listing sold as soon as possible, and also help the seller get the price that he is looking for, but may not be overpriced listing but actually close to the market value? So how do you do that? How do you juggle these two? Well, what I found as a in my own career as a real estate agent, that it was an issue of education, and I had to educate the seller in the right from the beginning. And how I did that was basically I only chose to work with listing, and I did my homework. I found out, okay, the listing was priced at maybe, let's say, I'm just giving you a figure here, let's say the listing was priced at 1 million according to the market, right? But the seller wanted to sell it for 2 million. And if I found these kind of sellers, I wouldn't want to work with these kind of sellers, because these sellers were totally unrealistic, and it's such a hassle to work with them, because they will always say they are right, and they will always get another agent to do it, and in the end the other agent also loses, because it's just bad business, and it's bad marketing for the agent, it's bad business for the agent as well. So how do I solve this problem? Basically, I nip this problem in the bud by only choosing to work with listings, only choosing to work with sellers who are realistic, who are willing to listen to me, who understood what the market, who understood market dynamics, who understood that market set the price, not the seller, not the agent, right? And that is how I actually work with this kind of sellers. And by the time the seller came to me, I had an additional extra step. I had to prepare them, get them prepared for eventual price reduction. All right. So how did I do that? I didn't say it upfront and leave it to last minute, and that would definitely cause the seller to be totally shocked, and the seller won't be happy about it, and he'll be very, very defensive. And the better way I found, through trial and error and through speaking with my mentors and working with other agents, right, the better way was basically to pre-frame it in future, right? So what I did was basically, once I took up a seller, right, and I would do my comparative market analysis, and I would say, okay, this is a bit far from the market price. What I'm going to do is, let's put it up on the market, and let's see, let's run it for a few weeks. And after 3 weeks, right, after 3 weeks, after 3 weeks of being on the market, if it wasn't getting enough buyers, wasn't getting any inquiries, and if the listing wasn't even selling at all, then I would basically communicate with the seller. I would tell him, hey, this listing is not moving, this listing is not going anywhere, and I just want to be very, very clear about it. I'm not happy with the response either, and I plan to do something about it. let's meet up, and in future I just want you to be prepared. Are you okay? Are you okay with doing a price adjustment according to the market? I'm just putting it up front. I just don't want any surprises later down the road, and I just want you to be prepared. Are you with me on this? And that's how I would communicate with the seller. That's how I would talk to the seller, and I will get their cooperation to work together with me. And I mean, that's the key thing that I found with a lot of sellers. Even though price reduction is very, very sensitive, the right way to do the price reduction is actually to be very, very open about it, to be very upfront, to have a no BS approach, and basically to get them on board with you by educating them, by pre-framing them, and by preparing them basically in the future. So once you take listing and you realize that maybe it's an overpriced listing, then you tell the seller, okay, this is what I'm going to do. But if after X amount of weeks or days, if the listing is not moving, if it is not going anywhere, I need to do something. Are you with me on this or not? Are you prepared to do anything necessary to get the house sold? And what I found is that most sellers will definitely say yes. Right? So that's the secret to how to make a price correction on an overpriced listing the right way. My name is Yasir Khan, and I will hope to see you in the next video. Now go sell houses.